This is absolutely not okay. And this is crazy, but you notice how most of the schools have been in an uproar over mask mandates, over shots, over vaccines, over anything having to do with coronavirus. Well, we also have the arguments with and debates with CRT, which is critical race theory. But we also have huge issues that are coming out to the forefront having to do with plain old racism. So this article is basically saying this is absolutely not okay. Racism in Kansas City area schools. They have prompted a town hall meeting. And so you see all of the concerned parents and whoever is concerned about this area and what goes on in it. And so this is not the only place that has had issues that have come out more recently. I've heard of teachers using racial slurs. I even heard an article that was recently printed where a teacher said that if they didn't have the Constitution, that the children or the black children would be field slaves. So it was the way it was said in the classroom, and by her saying how she said it, sounded as if there was some animosity to all of it, and as if there was a euphemism, for lack of a better word. So you see all the people gathered here. So there's been a lot of incidences have come out. This is by an Aaron Torres. So every day when Brenna Bonner walks down the hallways of Raytown South High School, she feels like she's on trial. So she gets a break when she's able to get to her classrooms, but when then her class is over, she has to walk through the hall again. And so there's that feeling. So it feels like we're constantly being bullied because when you walk down the hallways, you see the police officers and they're ready to stop you if it looks like you're doing anything, said Bonner. And she's only 16, who's a senior in high school. And then if you get a past um, police officer, you see different administrators, a bunch of different counselors, and they're constantly watching you to make sure that it looks like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So Bonner, along with her friend Chris, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this, but the last name is Bell, so it's Christian Bell, I believe. Another Raytown South senior was one of the students uh, who showed up Saturday afternoon to Equal Minded Cafe, is what it's called, at the 43rd and Troost Avenue for an emergency town hall addressing racist incidents that have taken place across several Kansas City area schools in the past few weeks. So this has been a huge issue that's been going on. About 50 people attended the town hall meeting, which was organized by the Kansas City Defender, the Revolutionary Black Panther Party of Kansas City, and the Black Futures Coalition. Among those whom participated were the parents and former students from different school districts across Kansas City metropolitan. And so Rayan, ex-editor of the Defender, said that the town hall meeting was organized out of the concern for the lives of the black children that have been experiencing a lot of these things. So it's critically important that we say that this is absolutely not okay, X told the crowd that had gathered. And so that we say that we have to do something about this right now, because basically either you're going to be a racist or you're going to be an anti-racist, either or. So there have been several racist incidences at a number of different schools in Kansas City area since the start of the school year. Last week, Raytown School District announced 2 different investigations that are going on. They're ongoing. So one after a teacher in Raytown High School used the N-word during a discussion with students in the classroom, and the other that unfolded after the student in the English class received a worksheet that included the use of racial and homophobic and misogynistic slurs. Last month, Olathe South High School principal told parents and students that the school would investigate an incident in which the racist homecoming proposal circulated on social media. So the sign read, "If I was black, I would be picking cotton, but I'm white, so I'm picking you for HOCO, homecoming, of course." And so, and also in September, students at Park Hill South High School circulated a racist petition calling for the return to slavery. So mainly, these are people who are about pro-slavery or bringing back slavery. And I want to add in there something somewhat similar, but it's sad. There was a school where they actually were segregating the kids, segregating the black kids from the kids that weren't black. And so it happened. And so some parents and some people started realizing this, and it called a meeting as well, and also an investigation. So Murray Woodward has two black daughters in the Blue Springs school district. And so he said that the racism happens in our schools every day and it never makes the media. So racism happens with the microaggressions that happen in the classrooms, Woodward said. So it happens when black students are one of the fastest growing populations in the school district, that public school district, but most of them will go through K to 12 educations without seeing black teachers that look like them, a black administrator that looks like them, a black school board member that represents and looks like them. So he wants people to be mad every day because he said that there is a state of emergency for the black students that attend the schools. And so I hope that your advocacy and your anger allows you to stay in the fight when the news cameras aren't focused on it, because they wouldn't or they won't be in a couple of weeks, of course, Woodward said. And I hope that you're still mad. So General Indigenous XI from the Black Panther Party also addressed the crowd, and he said that it is important for people to elect school board members and vote for candidates. But he said that the work isn't done after a vote is cast. So a vote is a continuing thing, and it's not just one action, XI said. XI also said that there has to be a systemic changes that go on along with it. And so you can't teach out racism. We're just going to deal with that, XI said. But you can do something about the system that protects racism or the racist. Exactly. And I have to agree with that person that said that, XI. Whomever you are, that I'm not really familiar with it just yet, but I'm getting familiar with her. And your name sounds very familiar, in fact. So anyway, with that being said, yeah, so this is not the only incident. And so with that, I'm going to add to this article this is not the only school that's been having these issues. I've been seeing it happening a lot. I've even been seeing where there are right-wing groups trying to ban books. And get this, the books are by Toni Morrison. They're by black authors or authors that write about black issues or things that are, even if it's fiction, anything having to do with somebody, it seems that they're they're kind of cherry picking, or they're finding anything to say, oh, it's pornographic. Oh, they're using hard words. Oh, it's CRT. Basically, that's really what they're looking for, is books that have to do with CRT, critical race theory, and they're trying to ban all the books straight across the board. So I don't know that people are realizing this, but they're trying to take books out of school, period, that have to do anything with black, anything, or Martin Luther King, anything. They're even trying to ban Martin Luther King books, y'all. So it is crazy. It's all about the CRT, and the right-wing people are the people who just don't want anything being taught about the history of America. Put it that way. They basically want your kids to be dumb and not know who they are. And so, and where they come from, and where the people before them came from, and what happened in the countries, and why people have the disagreements and the debates that they see. And so that's unfair, and it's a disservice to young people, because when they grow up, they're going to get out in the world and they're going to see it anyway. And so, why would you not want them to learn in an academic setting instead of get out in the world and become shocked and end up seeing it right in their face? You know, you're hearing about some people who have gone all through school and not even heard about the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre. They hadn't heard about the Redwood massacre. They hadn't heard about several different histories that had taken place that explained the reason why people are the way they are or feel the way they do or had grandparents of grandparents that had went through something. The reason why there is such a wealth gap. Things that are impacting us now, today. Um, so it's sad, that we're living in a time where they're trying to reverse laws that people before us fought so hard to try to resolve and make do so that people can have equal opportunity. There could be more inclusion. There could be women's rights. They're just really trying to reverse everything and bring it back to the 40s and 50s, or maybe even before then, is what I'm hearing. Bringing it back to slavery or segregation and things like that. And it's so crazy. And that comes from not being educated and not knowing how hard people fought to have these things turned around. And now you've got a group of people that are trying to fight to reverse it. And they don't have to do too much, especially if you're not reading, you're not looking, you're not investigating, and you don't have enough people that back you up on these issues. The only time you see people act out is when they realize, wow, this is impacting me right now. That's the only time you see people start to get serious, but by that time it's too late. You get serious before it gets out of control. You don't wait for it to now impact you and impact all your neighborhood to finally fight about it, and argue about it and voice your opinions. You do something before it gets to that point. One way is voting, but we know sometimes that doesn't work as fast. You have to get enough people together, just like they get together and they have meetings, just like these people did here. They're having a town hall meeting. They're trying to use their activism and their voice and speech, the freedoms that they have to try to solve or resolve this system. They know the racism is going to be there, but what they're trying to do is trying to work these things out so that they can resolve them now before it gets out of control. So be looking for a lot of this happening all over. It already is. You've seen some of those town hall meetings, those school meetings where they're blowing up over masks, wearing either to wear them or not to wear them. How crazy that is. The fights that they're having. They're even having some parents threaten. They have to have FBI investigate some places and some of the parents what organizations they might be a part of that could be threatening. They've been sending death threats to administrators over the mandates. And so it is that crazy. And so I don't think this is going to go away because we're still not out of the woods with the pandemic completely. I mean, some of the numbers have been dropping. It's been low. But the fights, they're everywhere. And it just seems like it gets worse and worse as it goes along. They find every other avenue to attack.